Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bay Area Content Marketing Meetup. My name is Dennis Shao, co-organizer of this group, along with Rich Schwerin. Today, we're talking content marketing portfolios with Amy Brennen. What do content marketing portfolios give you? They give you credibility, help you position yourself, and show others your expertise. Amy's going to introduce the topic, share her background, clarify the key elements of a content marketing portfolio, share a collection of good and bad portfolio examples, and then invite you for a friendly and informative live review session should you want your portfolio reviewed in real time. Amy, thanks for joining and take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dennis. And thank you again, Rich and Dennis, for badgering me into doing this. No, honestly, I'm really grateful to have this opportunity. Portfolios are a topic near and dear to my heart and something that I have struggled to put together over the years. So I'm glad to be talking to you about this today. So yeah, let's dive in. So a little bit about me. So my background is I've been in content marketing for about 10 years now. I have an international background, multilingual, and in my experience, applying for content marketing jobs, hiring content marketers, hiring freelancers, it's the portfolio that's that make or break for me. It really helps folks to stand out because it's one thing to get that resume and see kind of that bullet point, and it is quite another to see that comprehensive overview of your experience. So that's why I wanted to connect with you guys today. In other exciting news, I am actually hiring for a content marketing manager. So if that is you, send me a DM, connect with me on LinkedIn. Yes, that's kind of my background in a nutshell. So currently at Moveworks, Senior Marketing Manager, Enterprise AI company. So, sorry, I got a lot of screens going on. Okay, so today's talk. So what are we gonna chat about today? Couple of things. We're going to talk about what a content marketing portfolio does, standout elements of a portfolio, how to tailor that portfolio for your ideal job or opportunity, what the best format is, mistakes to avoid, and how to promote your portfolio. So that's at a glance kind of what the subjects are today. So 2/3 of marketers agree. Finding a full-time marketing job is so much harder now than it was. And I realize that most of your cameras are off right now, but show of hands if you've been looking for jobs or opportunities and you're like, this market is really different than just a couple years ago. I know it was for me, even just a year ago when I was applying for a similar opportunity. So, to be a content marketer in 2025 is to be asked to do so many things. Right? We're writers, we're editors, we're SEO specialists, we're analysts, we're stakeholder whispers. There's so much being asked of us, but portfolios remain one of the best ways to stand out in this really crowded market. I've seen those, PDF resumes, I've seen writing samples get sent over, and those are a good start, but they really can't compare to a portfolio. And the reason why is because your portfolio lets you stand out. People can kind of start to blend together when you're simply looking at resumes, when those systems are just looking at keywords, right? But your portfolio, it's that curated collection of your work. It's showing your strategy. It's showing your creativity. It's showing your humanity. It's showing your expertise in creating this content that is tailored to engage and influence specific audiences. And so, today I wanted to chat about a couple things. How can your portfolio highlight your expertise? How can you target it to exactly opportunities you're looking for? How do you build a portfolio the right way and avoid some common pitfalls? How can you strategically promote your work once you've put together this portfolio? Because at the end of the day, your killer portfolio should showcase not only your creativity, but your audience expertise and open those doors to career growth and client wins. So my hope is that this helps you kind of stop shouting in the digital abyss when you're applying for these opportunities and that you start standing out in the best possible way. So quick check-in in the chat. I'm curious if you have any thoughts. What do you see as like an essential element to a content marketing portfolio? Would love to kind of hear what folks are saying. Is it work samples? Is it a certain kind of content? Also feel free to shout out results. Love that, Andy. Yes, results, absolutely. Samples and why they're relevant to the reader. Work and writing samples for sure. Those are good ones. Technology use, question mark. I think that's a great question. So those are some good talking points and places of beginning. Yes, I agree. It is tricky with strategy and it totally depends on your role. And so the essential elements of a standout portfolio, content samples, right? I think that's pretty evident. Case studies, when you have those and when that's applicable. Proof points, absolutely essential. Got to have those proof points. 4, skills and services. What kind of content do you create? What is your background? What skills are you able to deliver on? I also love to see 5, a little bit of a personal biography. Who are you? What's your background? What experiences are you bringing to this role? And then last but not least, contact information. So let me show you some examples I've found when it comes to, your content samples. Pretty straightforward, right? I've seen some people do a list of different content samples. Some people have a more visual approach. So this one is pretty straightforward. In terms of case studies, if you're a content marketer that has case studies, I think you could also put that as long form content as well. I think it's helpful to see a variety of content formats. One thing that this person's doing well is also showing some kind of results. And I think this is something that, I saw a couple folks in chat chiming in on, picking up. I think Andy was one of them, saying that like, hey, if you were able to show results, is that views? Is that click-through rate? Maybe, you're a freelance contributor and you don't have access to those kind of metrics. Maybe the kind of results you're showing are client testimonials instead. But you want to find a way to kind of bring those proof points and show that impact in your portfolio. So something to have. Now, I think, the other point as well is, what are your skills and specialty? Are you a finance content marketer? Do you do a variety of content? Can you do different formats? Help your viewer understand that at a glance. So here are some screenshots from content marketing portfolios showing these different, types and showing some of the different services that this person, these people provide. And then, some familiar faces here. Last but not least, you'll want your content marketing portfolio to have some kind of biography, give them a little bit of a sense of where you come from, and contact info. In most cases, I imagine that you would want folks to get in touch with you after they see your portfolio. So be sure to have some kind of contact information where folks can get in touch.
So Amy, if I may,
please, yes.
If you could go back to that slide. So this is the top. So I submitted my portfolio as one of the ones that Amy can speak about. This is the top of my page. And speaking of your story, I feel like a portfolio by its very nature is kind of like an abstraction. It's like, here's a bunch of my writing samples, but it's really just samples, like a robot could potentially write it. So who are you as the person? What is your story? I use my portfolio sometimes in the past for applying for a full-time job, and also as a consultant for freelance work. And what I really want to do is show up front, this is who I am as the person, because I think that's, for many cases, should be a very important factor, like who's the person we're hiring. And I linked to one story I've written where I actually have a computer science degree and a technical career that spanned into marketing. So I wrote a long article about that journey. And so I put a link to that article in this portfolio. Because what I really want to do is like start off right off the bat, not with my samples, but this is who I am. This is me, the person, which I think is very important in today's age of AI.
Thank you, Dennis. Yeah, that's so well said, right? Like, how do we stand out? Like, your portfolio it's your digital storefront, right? It is your opportunity to have personal branding, and what better way than by sharing a little bit of your background and what makes you different and special. I think that's really great. I'm seeing some questions in the chat about kind of what sites to use and where to host your portfolio, but I promise you we will get to that topic later. So quick, share in the chat. Do you have any content specialties? Maybe we have some B2B writers in the house. Maybe we have some folks in healthcare. I know I saw nonprofit earlier. So if you'd like to, feel free to chime in. Okay, HR tech and SaaS, B2B tech, strategy and operations, financial services, B2C and some B2B. Very cool, very cool. Well, the reason I bring that up is because your portfolio should be tailored, right? How can you highlight your specific niche, your expertise? When you have your portfolio and you have those different writing samples, right? And, other content examples, it really helps to showcase a couple of really key points for hiring managers. With this work, you're able to show that you really get the audience and their needs. You're also able to show kind of quality and consistency, right? If someone tells me they're, a finance content marketer, that means one thing, but if I can see multiple examples of that, that really helps to establish a lot more credibility, especially when that quality is consistent. And then speaking your industry's language. I know that that's something that really stands out for me is, I'm at a AI company right now, and when I see other fellow AI writers and they're using that terminology correctly, that is really key to standing out. So here is a screenshot from someone's portfolio showing how they are showcasing their niche and industry expertise. So, yeah. Now, what's the best portfolio format? I saw some discussion in the chat earlier. I saw some talk about like Wix or website or something. Now, I personally love a good content marketing website. There's just so many different ways you can format a website to tell your story. There's a lot of really easy templated websites out there. I am on WordPress right now. I've done Wix in the past, Squarespace. There's a lot of sites that make it easy. One option I've seen as well recently is Notion. That's kind of a fast and easy option, is just having a quick Notion page with a bunch of links. I will show a sample Notion portfolio as well. And, at the end of the day, what's the best portfolio? Well, it's one that showcases your work and that you can easily update and that you can easily tailor to that opportunity. So, while websites are great, if it's just a catch-all of 50 different types of content, sometimes that can be a lot for, the person to unpack. Maybe you do want to put together something a little bit more targeted for an opportunity. And that's in cases where a slide deck or a PDF or having maybe designated sections on your website for those different niches can be so helpful. So those are some different formats that are working for folks. Now, I know I'm going through this pretty fast and furious, but that's because I wanted to leave as much time as possible to really dive into the meat of things and dive into portfolio reviews and, have us go through these portfolios together. So what are some common mistakes? What are some common challenges I see with content marketing portfolios? Well, first and foremost, sometimes I will see outdated content. And, I know that many of us have careers that spanned quite a long time. I'm not necessarily talking about like outdated, but if there's broken links, that's kind of a problem that I've seen in portfolios. Make sure all your links are there and are working. Or, sometimes I'll go to portfolio and it looks like someone hasn't done work in the past 10 years. And that just kind of makes me curious as a hiring manager, have they worked recently? So if possible, keep that portfolio updated. Another thing is being mindful of visual elements. I realize that we are writers, not designers. And hey, some of these website tools are challenging to use. So when in doubt, keep it simple. Checking for accuracy. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Number 4, protecting sensitive content. Now, I forget if this was Chloe or if this was someone else, but I know before this presentation, we were having a conversation about what do you do if you're a ghostwriter? What do you do if you are writing gated content or content that can't be shared? So in that case, I would recommend that you're either sending over writing samples in the case that you have content that you can't publicly disclose, so then it's just being shared privately. Another option I've seen work are password protected sections on website. I think that that's a really good option as well, is just sharing out that password when you're actively seeking opportunities to the right people. And another option as well is anonymization. If you've written sensitive content where you're, sharing specific names or details, perhaps another way for you to put that on your portfolio is to remove that sensitive information and keep it very high level and anonymous. So those are some pointers as well for number 4. Not sure if there's any questions or whatnot on any of that. I think another point as well is always be capturing your wins. Like when's the best time to be looking for a content marketing opportunity or, thinking about your next one? Well, it's during your existing opportunity. Are you downloading the ebook that you wrote? Do you have a sense of the metrics for your blog? Maybe someone sent you a really nice Slack message and they're really impressed with the work you did, or an email. Screenshot that, keep it somewhere, always be capturing your wins and really make that an ongoing habit for yourself as well. Dennis, is there anything you want to chime in on this list here?
Not on this list, but I just thought of something. So I just thought of this idea. So back to the topic of where do you host like the website for your portfolio?
Yeah.
It's an interesting question because there's all, as you said, there's so many choices you can use. But here's one idea, especially if you don't have a portfolio yet. The idea is put your portfolio together using the tips from this talk and publish it as a LinkedIn article. It's easy to publish on LinkedIn. Obviously you can publish posts, but there's also a separate feature called a LinkedIn article, and just label it in the title, like put portfolio in the title of the article, and then you include your portfolio. And the good thing is, presumably people looking for you to hire you for a job or to hire you for a consultant, LinkedIn is a good place to have it in the first place because it's going to be associated with your profile. And you can there's like a featured section on your profile, so you can mark that article as featured. So that would be a good place to start. Put your portfolio on LinkedIn.
I love that. Thanks, Dennis. And also, I'm not sure if you've used this feature, but you can put a link right next to your profile photo as well that directly links to your portfolio. So once you do have a portfolio that you want to share out, it'll be that round circle that shows your picture, it'll be your name, and then immediately under you get one link that you can share out. And that's a really prime real estate for your portfolio. Great idea. Wonderful. Well, in that case, let's dive into some portfolio review. I'm going to show a couple. It looks like and I hope that my screen sharing works with this too. All right, yes. So first, and also feel free to come off of mute, feel free to jump in the chat. The goal is that this is kind of a learning session for all of us, right? I think that you'll probably see a little bit of yourself and your experience in some of these portfolios. And, there's such a wealth of knowledge here. I would love to hear your perspectives as well. So the first portfolio I'm sharing is by Nirali, and I think that she is doing a really good job just kind of getting everything on Notion, sharing a bio, sharing her context, listing specific skills and tools. She's got client testimonials here with folks that have pretty good titles too. She's been a valuable partner. I value her partnership. We hope to work with her for many more years to come. So I like this. And then we've got work samples. So at a glance, I see that, they've done stuff for SaaS, for tech, and in WordPress and email. And there we go. We got the contact information, connect on LinkedIn. So I think, for those of you that, find kind of the portfolio thing maybe a little intimidating, maybe you don't have a portfolio yet, I feel like her portfolio can give kind of a good idea of how simple it can be to kind of create that that portfolio that links out to your best stuff, shows your testimonials, and gives kind of an overview. So this is one that I will share out. We have a comment here that Canva is a good option. Yes, Canva is excellent as well. So going back to the presentation, is it kind of a little slow to load for you folks as well? Because I'm not seeing anything on my screen. Let me.
Yeah, I see a blank screen.
You see a blank screen?
Maybe it's coming up now.
Yeah, it's blank.
It's blank. Like your portfolio should not be. Yeah.
It just proves it's a live demo. This isn't canned. It's not AI. This is real world. These things happen.
Good point.
The lesson here is not to leave the portfolio to the imagination of the reader.
Yep. Oh no. All right. Okay. Technical difficulty. Let me launch and
While you do that,
again.
meantime, Amy, there's a really good chat ongoing. I appreciate everyone chiming in. If you have questions, comments, I'll keep that going on the side. And thank you, Amy. Really good so far.
Awesome. Thanks, Rich, and thanks for also jumping in the chat and keeping all these conversations going. All right. Looks like I am back in action on my end. So beautiful. All right, I realize you're seeing my entire screen and not just the polished version. Oh, there we are, wonderful. Okay, so this is one, and also, in chat, let's keep the conversation going. Maybe next time, share one thing you like about a portfolio and maybe one room for improvement. So if you wanna participate, play along, I think that would be great. So here is a portfolio from Nick Moore. And you see his face and you see what he does. He has technical content marketing and essays for developer and engineers. So at a glance, we see that he's taking visually, pretty different approach than Nirali. And what I think is so cool about his portfolio is he is just talking directly to his target person here. Directly. So Nick does developer marketing. And that is pretty clear when you jump on his portfolio. What's also really cool is that he shows a lot of screenshots of social proof. So for example, he wrote this article for Mermaid Chart, and on Hacker News, it got over 300 comments, this article he wrote. So talk about, validation, right? Talk about, having that social proof. I think this is a really cool thing for him to be able to point to, right? He's not just talking about developers, but he's showing that as well and showing additional screenshots of his top-ranking work. I'm curious, what do you folks think about having like direct screenshots of Google Analytics or search results or something like that in a portfolio? I'm seeing a thumbs up from Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. Oh, here's a chat, sorry. Like it, yes. On the fence because of photos, because of DEI, is it positive to have one? Chloe, that's a really good point. It is reasonable to wonder, will having a photo that shows your image help you or potentially hurt you, right? Like if you are from a historically marginalized group or whatnot, like do you want to put your photo on there because that is going to be the first person thing someone sees? I think it's nice to include a photo, but I certainly understand that hesitation. And I think that that's kind of a judgment call that each one of us is going to make, whether we want to include our photos in here. and Andy says, if you are a wise age, don't put dates on anything. Oh yeah, what year did we graduate college? Does it matter? We graduated. That's what's important. So good call out as well. Now I'm going on to another portfolio. You know what? Let's get, oh goodness, so many. Visual portfolio. All right. So here is another portfolio. And I'm seeing at a glance this person's name. I'm seeing their area of specialty. So this is good. I kind of know at a glance what they do. Okay, looking at this, it looks like they have a really broad range with the kind of content they create. I'm seeing a funny script, a book, a short story, crypto, interesting. So I'm clicking on this one. Objective, time taken, tools used. Now, someone was saying earlier, should you say what tools you use in your portfolio? I think that you can. I don't think you have to include it on every single one, but that is a valid question. And I think what I didn't like about this portfolio last time I was here is it took me quite a while to find their actual writing sample on here. I almost missed it. It's right up here in the corner. And so don't make the person work. Ideally, make it easy for them to see kind of your work. I'm curious if you have any kind of thoughts on this portfolio. When I see it, I'm like, okay, this person is kind of trying to go for breadth rather than kind of more expertise. Maybe they're a little bit earlier in their career. Okay, we got a question. Is there a difference between a portfolio specifically for job hunting versus freelance work? For example, job hunting might be shorter. Yeah, so Chloe, that is such a good question. Because I think for a lot of us, it's our instinct to put, each and every piece of great work that we have in a portfolio. But sometimes when we're looking for those more specialized opportunities, we might want to be more curated. And so where we're kind of, I think you can strike a balance is with a portfolio like this one right here. Now this person, Anne, she does a really excellent job of segmenting the different content types that she does. Hey, do I want a blog writer? Cool, looks like she's done it. Oh, do I want someone who's done strategy? Oh, cool, here's an entire strategy section. So I think that maybe this can be one way when you're job searching to kind of focus people versus giving them this, Cheesecake Factory menu of options where they don't really know where to look. But I would love for people to, so when in doubt, I would say keep it simple. Personally, I like this, but different hiring managers are going to have different opinions. Now, one thing I think is really interesting about this approach as well is this person shares context, which with each and everything. So, a lot of us will link to our writing samples, but what I think is cool is she shares each one of these was SEO optimized and written without using AI tools. Each was on a topic related to demand gen. So I'm just curious, jump in chat. Do you kind of share this context in your portfolio, or do you wait till having a call with someone? Because I think it's a balance, because I think it's challenging to kind of capture all that context in a portfolio, especially when you're kind of casting a wide net. So I'm kind of curious if people kind of have a sense. Dennis, like, do you give context, or do you just kind of, here's my work, let it speak for itself?
I think context is really useful, but of course, when you like the portfolio in general is one size fits all, whereas everything opportunity you're up for has a unique context. So sometimes it's hard. But Linda has a really interesting comment in the chat. She says, what I've done before is create a mini portfolio for the hiring manager. When I get to talk to them, I've gotten great feedback from them. So it sounds like it's almost like a custom portfolio for that opportunity, which you can tailor for that company and industry. I think that's a fabulous idea.
I think that's amazing. And Linda, I'm curious, like, that's not like, you're not building a website every time, right? Like, I assume you're like sending over a PDF or work samples or something. Yeah, Linda, share your secrets. I know in the past I have sent over work samples, right? When I'm targeting a certain role, I'll be like, hey, here's all the AI stuff I've done in the past. Here's my AI work samples. A
So
PDF that I tailor.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, very cool. Yeah, that sounds a lot more scalable, especially.
But I was going to make a similar comment, which is back to the original question about do you adjust your portfolio for a full-time role? I almost think you don't need to build a portfolio page, but when you are applying, you have to figure out what's interesting to the hiring manager and almost put together a custom reply or cover letter with all the samples in that. So it's highly customized to the opportunity as opposed to like sending them to a portfolio page.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Wonderful. Well, let me look at Craig's. Craig, thank you. Thank you for
Oh,
sharing.
I think Craig dropped, so
Did he drop?
just FYI, yeah.
Oh, boo. Okay.
We can still talk about him.
Okay. Well, I owe him a portfolio review. I'll send him some feedback offline
Yeah.
then. Okay.
Well, I mean, you could do a short feedback right now, and I'll tell him about it in the
All
if he wants
right.
the recording.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. I see we've got his name, image, some context about his professional background, so that's good. So I would just say that like visually, I would like to kind of see this a little bit more balanced. I don't know if this was optimized for mobile, but Craig's a lovely man, but I'm getting like a really close-up image of his face. And I would kind of love to kind of see a little bit more of his portfolio. So he may want to kind of play around with a different format. It looks like he has a wealth of very technical experience, which is excellent. I think what I like, I think this could, yeah, so I think for me, number one is I would format it so the writing is what's most prominent rather than the image. That's my primary piece of feedback. And, you know, I think that this could also be tweaked to be a little bit more direct, but I think he has a lot of really essential elements here. So thank you for sharing, Craig. Yeah. Any other folks that want input on their portfolio? I've got more, but I would love to help you. I know that it's a tough job market out there. Yep, shorter bio. Yep, agreed. Can you use link trees in portfolios? You mean like a link tree from Instagram? I don't see why you couldn't do a link tree portfolio. Yeah, that's an option. I think the question would be, are the opportunities you're seeking, are they going to come from a place like Instagram, or are they going to come from a LinkedIn or TikTok? Yeah, I mean, especially let's say if you're a B2C content marketer, I feel like a link tree could be a really good one. Okay, Sarah, are you okay with me doing a live review now? You sent this over. Are you okay with me sharing this with the group? You are. Wonderful. Thank you. Yet another brave soul. So Sarah wants some feedback on her portfolio. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, Canva, I will take your cookies. Okay, well, Sarah, at a glance, like this is so visually appealing. Like you should design most of our portfolios here. This is really very lovely. Okay, so we see your name, we see kind of the branding you're giving yourself, travel and lifestyle, nano digital creator, UGC. Okay, help burnt out experience create more. TikTok insights. Okay. Yeah, so I'd say visually this looks really excellent. And I think kind of a next step you could take is linking out, because I see these incredible brands. I'm like, wow, Marriott, Lululemon, ClassPass. If you're able to, I think it would be wonderful to be able to link to some of these. And I think it would also be kind of good to maybe share a little bit more context. But if this is a single page that you're giving, I think, you know, you're really creating a lot of intrigue with people. I don't know, folks, does anyone else have any kind of helpful thoughts for Sarah?
Sarah
Things
says
that she
the
might be able to
images
share?
are clickable.
Oh, they're linked in the photos. Well, silly me. Of course they're linked in the photos. Ooh, wow, cool. So I see that you've got all these links. Nice, very cool. I don't know how so many Yeah, I think this is great. I think it's a conversation starter. Um, I think what would be, you may want to use more keywords. Like where are we sharing this out? Is this on TikTok? Is this in Instagram? Is this on LinkedIn? I think kind of understanding how deep to go here would depend on where and how you're sharing this out. But Sarah, I think you have a really, really excellent start. You've got your YouTube, you've got your Gmail, you're linking to your work. I think that this is a really beautiful and visually appealing way to show some of your thing. And I love this metric, higher engagement rate. So yeah, excellent start.
I have one suggestion for Sarah,
Yeah.
which is, so if I'm a B2C brand and I'm interested in engaging with you, I would want to know a little bit about the services you provide, like how would we engage with one another?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, so what would your title be? Are you doing everything from the photography to the editing to the strategy? Kind of help us understand a little bit more clearly what your role is with the content creation, where you fit in, how you'd collaborate with my team. I think that that would be helpful as well. Yeah. Andy says, is it better to make it static or scrollable? Well, I have a portfolio here that if I can click it. Oh, wow. Dennis says, I think that your portfolio is kind of the ultimate scrollable portfolio that I've seen.
Yeah, it is it's a long one.
I think you can do either way. It really depends on what website template you're using and kind of what story. I think the scrollable option kind of naturally keeps people going, and can kind of help with content discovery, but maybe you want to purposely segment things off a little bit. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer on that one.
I think it's tricky because a single page is maybe not enough. You're not showing enough. Whereas I didn't worry about, because mine is probably like 8 or 10 scroll depths deep. And I didn't care so much about that because if you're interested in scrolling, that's great. But if you're like, this is too much and you give up, maybe they're not going to be interested in me to begin with. So I just went with the approach of just share too much. Maybe I mean I don't want to make anything irrelevant, but I did want to just pack it in with lots of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Thanks, Dennis. And
Oh yeah, I'll pull up a link to my profile.
please do. Yeah, if you could drop that in chat, that would be great. One other portfolio I want to share out with you all when I can figure out how to. Here we are. So one kind of question I kind of want to put to the group is how much impact are we showing? Is there a line with how much detail is too much? So I actually have another example that I want to go to. This person's great. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, this one. Don't know why I'm having trouble clicking. Thanks for staying with me. Oh. Hold on, let me get out of presenter mode. Alrighty. So this person does a really interesting job, right? Remember how we were talking about like adding context to your work? You have this like kind of bird's eye view of their content. Hey, ExxonMobil, PNC, gender matters. And then you click on a particular project and it's really in depth. Here's who they collaborated with. Here's the deliverables. Here's the business goal. Here's the challenges. Here's the objective. So I'm curious to hear from you. Do you feel like, you know, you walk away being like, wow, I understand what they're doing and this is really helpful, or does it feel like kind of too much? Personally, I feel like you kind of want to strike a balance. I think that this can be really helpful. There was a comment earlier about what if you're a content strategist, right? How can you show content strategy in a portfolio? I think that this can be one way of really giving a little bit more nuance and depth to strategy. How is everyone addressing the fact that content sometimes gets taken down by the companies you work for? I've downloaded my articles that I find in internet libraries doesn't look great. It's tricky. That's why I try to capture it when I can. But hey, sometimes if you have a sub-optimized piece of content, that's what you have to work with. But I just wanted to bring this one out there because I feel like Sarah is just doing such a great job of really walking me through her approach on this project and sharing concepts. So if you're, more on the strategist side or strategy side, I think something like this can be helpful for giving more depth beyond kind of a standard, here's a case study, here's a writing sample link kind of approach. So yeah, something I want.
That's
Yep.
a really good example. It's almost like reads like a B2B customer case study that some of us have written for clients. But I like it because if somebody is thinking of hiring this person for a similar project, it shows the flow. Like if they work in a similar way, this would be this would seal the deal.
Exactly. Yeah, and so with that, let's kind of want to make sure that we have time for any open questions at the end. So reflecting on today's session as we kind of start to wrap, I'm curious, as we went through these portfolios, did you see something that you want to try? Have you seen something that maybe you've been inspired to do differently? I know one thing I want to do is I want to share more results in my portfolio. Right now, I feel like I just kind of have a bunch of links and writing examples, but I don't have enough results. So that's something I want to be better at. I also think social proof. Sometimes I'll have a coworker who writes something nice or someone posts something on LinkedIn. I want to add more social proof to mine. That's something. Yeah, I like that Sarah shows the entire process. She clearly knows what she's doing. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so kind of thinking ahead, right? You've done your portfolio. You're going to work on it after today's session. You've got the whole weekend set aside, right? You've got your portfolio. Then how do you promote your portfolio? So I know we touched on this a little bit, but put that link on your resume. That's kind of a obvious starting point. Have it there. Make it obvious. Make it clickable. Share it with your peers, right? This is a friendly group. I think a lot of us are members of the Bay Area content marketing community. If not, hey, perfect time to join. Dennis, I imagine people would love to give feedback on portfolios. Like that's one of the things that
Right.
we can do in this group, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So share your portfolio with this group. I'm also part of a couple other content marketing groups. There's Top of Funnel, there's Superpath, which is paid. There's also Content Marketing Institute. There's Peak Freelance for freelancers. There's so many great groups out there. And I think just having that peer review really makes a big difference as well. So keep putting it out there, keep sharing, and keep really distinguishing yourself with your portfolio. You are doing incredible work. And it's a tricky climate, but your portfolio is that storefront and your chance at personal branding. So thank you all for just sharing this hour together. I hope this has been informative. I do have a stop at 1, but I would love to stay on. I would love to answer any more questions or open this up for folks. Thank you so much for joining the call and really making this such a fun, engaging, and interactive session today. Dennis, anything you want to share?
I wanted to thank you, Amy. You're getting a lot of compliments in the chat. Maybe you want to reiterate or share some details on the opening you have at your company, because maybe some people came on after you had mentioned it. So tell us what role you're hiring.
Dennis, thank you. Look at me, terrible at plugging. Hey everyone, Amy Brennen, Senior Manager Content Marketing. I work at Moveworks. We are an enterprise AI company. Our company works like having a private GPT that securely works off of your company data. We have recently been acquired by ServiceNow, and if you think that doing content marketing for an AI company sounds really cool, that's been rated as one of the best places to work here in the Bay Area, please connect with me. I am on LinkedIn. I will drop my LinkedIn. I am right here. We are hiring for a content marketing manager at the content marketer and senior content marketing manager level. So if you're interested, please connect with me. I would love to be able to hire someone talented like you. So.
And Amy, is it remote job or do you need to be in a certain geography?
Thank you for clarifying. This is a hybrid role. It is based out of Mountain View, California.
Okay,
Looking for someone who can come into office at least once a week.
got it.
Yeah.
We have time for maybe one question or comment if anyone wants to take the floor to ask.
And you are also welcome to get an early start on your 1 p.m. too. So,
All right, well, with that, thanks again, Amy. Thanks again for everyone for attending, and contact me or Rich if you or a colleague would like to present to this group.
Awesome. Thank you,
Take care.
Dennis. This was great. Thanks, Rich, too. Really appreciate you inviting me to join today. This was amazing.
Our pleasure.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone.